Hi, this is the Data Sniffer, and this module is going to be on supply and demand curve. This is the reference that we're using, Managerial Economics, and it's by Keats, Young, and Erfley, and it's 2013, the copyright. So this is the Data Sniffer, and welcome to our module, and I'll begin. So what we're looking at is supply and demand equilibrium. All right, so how do we get there? So we're going to cover the demand function, supply function, and these are just going to be given functions. We're not going to go into detail of how we obtain those functions. And then we're going to do the supply and demand equilibrium. All right, so let's start out with the demand function. And we'll talk about the characteristics. So given this, we have Q sub D is a function of price, and then other factors. And again, we're not going to really cover these, not covered here. Then we're looking at the quantity demanded, price, and again, other factors. Again, not covered. So then we can go to a given demand function, and we'll use this function here. 700 minus 100p, and notice the negative, and that denotes a downward sloping demand curve. All right, so that's the demand curve, demand function. Let's cover next the supply function. So very similar. Supply is a function of price, other factors. Q sub S is the quantity supplied. Again, price. And other factors. And so our example here, again, this is just given. Q sub S, we're going to use minus 100 plus 100 P. So this is a 1. All right, so that's the supply function. So now we're going to join these together and compute our equilibrium point. So, given our Q sub D equals 700 minus 100 P, our Q sub S equals minus 100 plus 100 P. We're going to solve for Q. To Q, and we denote this by star, is equal to, this goes away, 600 Q star equals 300. All right, so we've solved for Q star. Now, let's go back to our Q sub D demand function. 700 minus 100 P, and we're going to substitute 300 in equals 700 minus 100 P. I'm going to bring 100 P over, and then 300 over, equals 700 minus 300, and then 100 P equals 400, and then P equals 400 over 100 equals 4. All right, so what we're going to do next is just check this. All right, so recall equilibrium, the demand and supply sides are equal, perfect competition. So given P prime, P star equals 4, we'll put these equations together. Minus 100 plus 100 P. 800, bring that over. Bring that over. 100 P plus 100 P. So 800 equals 200 P. So 800 equals P. 4 equals P. So 4 equals 4. So the equations are equal, and we'll draw our supply demand curve. So we have price then we have quantity, we have our supply curve, we have our demand curve, and recall that Q star equals 300. P star equals 4. Alright, so we'll just plot these. So 300 Q star, and this is not to scale, 4 P star. Alright, so here is our equilibrium. Up here we have surplus. And down here we have shortage. Equilibrium points 300, 4, and perfect competition. All right, so that's a wrap. Supply and demand curve, supply and demand equilibrium. Make sure you follow us so you can get our next video in this series. We'll talk to you later. The Data Sniffer.